I remember the first time I told my family I wanted to be a landscape architect. I was just a kid then, sitting around the dinner table, my hands trembling with something I couldn't quite name. Hope, maybe, or stubbornness. My parents looked at me like I'd spoken in another language. My siblings snickered behind their plates. My uncle, the sturdest among them, scoffed outright. "Landscaping? That's a joke," he said, voice dripping with contempt. "You're not serious, are you? You'll never make a living doing that. You're wasting your time. It's a pipe dream like trying to grow a forest in a desert." I felt the sting then, but I held my ground. "I love it," I said quietly. "I want to make places beautiful, to help the earth heal." They laughed harder. My mother shook her head, her eyes narrowing. "You're just a foolish kid. Dream big, dream small, but don't expect it to pay the bills." That night, I buried my dreams under the weight of their ridicule. I heard whispers of failure, embarrassment, and waste of time echoing through my mind. But inside, I knew what I wanted. I spent years studying, working tirelessly in obscurity, building my knowledge from the ground up. I faced rejection after rejection, funding denied, projects rejected, friends telling me to give up. But I kept pushing, driven by something deeper than approval. Fast forward 10 years. I had become a landscape architect. Yes, but not just that. I transformed barren lands into thriving ecosystems. I designed urban parks that became sanctuaries for wildlife, revitalized neglected neighborhoods, and planted forests where concrete once reigned. My work was recognized globally. I'd been featured in magazines, awarded for innovation, and even invited to speak at conferences on environmental restoration. But what mattered most wasn't the awards or the recognition. It was the quiet, stubborn hope I carried that I was proving everyone wrong. Every tree I planted, every river I restored was a silent testament to my resilience. I had succeeded beyond what anyone had dared to imagine back home. I had become the person I'd always known I could be because I refused to let their words define me. And so, I decided it was time to go home. Not just as a visitor, but as a testament. I wanted my family to see what I'd become, what their ridicule almost crushed, but ultimately fueled. I stepped off the plane into the small town where I'd grown up. Nothing much had changed, but I had. I was different, more grounded, more purposeful. I drove straight to the family farm, a sprawling patch of land that had been handed down for generations. It was a barren, neglected stretch of earth, dry, cracked, staring back at me like a challenge. I had brought with me the team, botanists, ecologists, and volunteers. Over the next few months, we transformed that land. We planted native trees, restored streams, built wetlands. We turned dust into a lush sanctuary. Local media caught wind of the project. Soon, the farm was buzzing with visitors, volunteers, and new life. The day of the unveiling, I stood with my family in front of a small crowd. My parents looked skeptical, my siblings amused. But then, I led them through the transformed land, the once desolate farm now bursting with life. I watched their faces as they saw what I had created. There were moments of silence, disbelief, then tears, smiles, and even a few stunned nods of acknowledgement. My mother's hand trembled as she brushed a leaf, her eyes moist. My father, stoic and proud, finally spoke. I never thought you'd do this," he said quietly, voice thick. "We always said it was a joke, that you were wasting your time. But look at what you've done." My siblings looked at the lush greenery, the flowing streams, the thriving wildlife. For a moment, they couldn't speak. The weight of years of mocking and doubt hung in the air. But so did something else, respect. And then, I stepped forward. "I didn't do this for approval," I said softly. "I did it because I believed, because I knew I had something to give, something real. And I wanted you to see what's possible when you refuse to listen to the noise of doubt." The crowd erupted in applause, but I only saw my family's faces. Their eyes held a quiet, reluctant acknowledgement of what I'd become. The one they dismissed, ridiculed, and called foolish was now the one who had brought life back to their land. In that moment, I realized something profound. Success isn't just about accolades or money. It's about resilience, about holding on to your truth when everyone else doubts you. It's about turning barren lands into thriving ecosystems and transforming skepticism into admiration, sometimes quietly, sometimes loudly, but always undeniably. I walked away from that day with a sense of peace I'd never known before. I knew that my journey was about more than proving others wrong. It was about proving to myself that dreams rooted in passion and perseverance could conquer even the deepest cynicism. And here's the truth I carry now. No matter how fierce the ridicule, no matter how impossible it seems, stay true to your vision. Because one day, the land you've cultivated, whether it's a physical space or a dream in your heart, will bloom in ways no one can deny. That's the real victory. That's the moment when all the mockery turns into acknowledgement, when the doubters become witnesses to your success, when the barren earth is no longer a symbol of failure, but a testament to hope, resilience, and unyielding belief. And in that, I found my redemption, not just for myself, but for everyone who's ever been told their dreams are too foolish, too impossible, too ridiculous. Keep going. Keep planting your seeds. Because someday you'll stand in the middle of your own thriving forest, and the world will finally see what you've always known, that your dreams were worth fighting for.